Alright, so first stand-up bit ever, trying to record it, whatever. It's probably not as... I just said it really funny. It's probably not going to be as funny for the camera because I'm going to try to remember what I just said, whatever. But basically, the deal is, dating is hard for millennials. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard, but not only is, like, depression and anxiety at an all-time high, sex is at an all-time low, and they make fun of us. Like, the older people, they're like, ha, ha, they're just addicted to their phones, and they don't want to have sex. It's actually not as easy as they might think, alright? And I don't think they understand. So when our parents, it's like, I feel like it's hard because I feel like you almost have to sneak around a little bit, and it's not quite as accepted as it used to be. I've got a different topic that I could go into before this other one I just said, but basically what I was saying before is that our parents, when they were our age, it was just like the hippies, right? And everybody just has sex with everybody all the time, and they're doing lots of drugs, and they're like, yeah, grow our hair long, and eat mushrooms, and flowers are awesome, right? And now they're older, and they're like, oh, drugs are bad. You should never do drugs. You should never have sex, ever. And really, you should never have fun or go outside, just work minimum wage. Oh, what did I say before that was so funny? Damn it. They were like, okay. They're like, you should never have sex. You should never do drugs of any kind. Oh, yeah. In fact, you shouldn't even have friends. Okay? You should just be working minimum wage all day, every day. That's your life. Now go. I mean, that's what it's like, really. It's like, why do you think fucking depressed when you gotta work minimum wage 7 days a week and you still can't even afford, like, an apartment, right? And you spend all your time working and you can't even afford an apartment, and they wonder why you're stressed and not having friends and shit. Like, there's literally no free time at all. There's no free time. And on top of that, there's, like... If you look at the statistics, crime is at the lowest point in human recorded history. The graph looks like it's going to zero. And yet the news media reports violent crimes and rapes and all that stupid stuff that sounds scary more than ever. Because it gets views, it gets good ratings, so they get more advertising views. So here we are. If we think what's on TV is real, then we're afraid out of our minds because apparently there's just violent criminals and just rapists running everywhere in the streets, even though it's literally the opposite according to statistics. So we're afraid of other people. We don't want to make friends. We don't want to connect with other people. You know, we're at an all-time low in wage and all that shit. There's no drugs. There's no money. There's no friends. Right? Education. There's no education past high school. You know, there's no health care. Like all those millennials and their phones, it's ruined them. Yeah, it's the phones that ruined us, guys. You're fucking so smart. My parents are like, yeah, we did lots of drugs and had free love, you know, and all those. But you know, all of that was really just a big mistake. See, we know better now. We know that was actually that was all very bad. We thought it was good at the time, but it was bad. We shouldn't have done it. You want to be like that. You want to have a miserable life, no drugs and no sex. That's what you want. Because that's the productive way. You need to be productive. You need to drink lots of coffee. You need to study. Work at shitty jobs all the time. For having sex and doing drugs, you're not going to have any time for studying and working at shitty jobs. That's what your life is destined to be. It's really bad, though, because, like, I've heard that stress... You guys might not know this, but just being stressed by itself has extremely negative health. Like, they say it's been linked to cancer. You know, I mean, I think it's obvious everybody knows, like, depression and anxiety can easily come from stress. But there's actually, like, physical, terrible afflictions you can get just from being stressed. So it's like, it's really, my doctor prescribed a dentist because I was grinding my teeth. My canines are flat now. a mouth guard to wear at night. So got this news feed thing that popped up on my internet. Must have been reading my mind or something about some other guy who just got prescribed a mouth guard for grinding his teeth. And they say that teeth grinding comes from stress and horniness. That's what this article said. So, and that guy had a wife. So what's that? That doesn't say much about his wife there, does it? Which leads me to another topic. I really don't believe, like, there are exceptions, obviously, to everything, but I truly don't believe that men and women were meant to be together and only love one other person for their entire life. Like, it just is crazy. Like, do you know how insane you get being around the same person for like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? Like, I've heard another comic say something about this, like, if you chew your food like that one more time, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Because, like, the littlest things, the most ridiculous, it's just like, you know, some people truly love each other so deeply that it happens, that sure, it can happen, but I think for most people, it just isn't healthy. I just don't think it works like that. I think that, you know, there's this phase where, like, you meet somebody, maybe you're attracted to them, you know, and this other thing I want to go over, the physical, pretending somebody's just beautiful personality and not attracted to their body at all. Like, men aren't allowed to objectify women. Like, listen, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You got to have some physical attraction along with the personality, right? But anyway, you meet somebody, and it's exciting, right? When you first meet them and you like them and they like you, and like you're touching them, you're kissing them, all that stuff. And then, you know, the excitement dies down, right? And it kind of simmers down, right? And eventually, I feel like after some variable amount of time, it just goes away. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The way I heard it put best one time is that relationships should be like friendships, right? Think about it this way. You never really break up with a friend, right? No, you just sort of like stop talking to them. You're like, well, I don't feel like talking to them, so I'm not going to. They're never like, oh my God, I can't believe you're not talking to me. Like, we're done. Right? Friends don't do that. It's just like, oh, then, you know, and if they're a truly good friend, 5 or 10 years later, you're like, oh, hey, I was thinking about you. Like, we should do something. They're like, yeah, let's do it. Right? Why can't relationships be like that? Why do they have to be so formal and like set in stone, and then like you're with this person for your whole life? That reminds me of this other thing I thought of, like, religious. I've got nothing against religious people. I think, you know, anyway, like the religious people that don't have sex until they're married, I mean, that's really, in my opinion, not that different from dating. It's just a different name, right? And it's just a little more of a, like, it's not quite as convenient, right? So it's not going to happen as often, but basically, if you're not going to have sex until you're married, then that's basically when your dating begins, right? Am I wrong? Anyway. Yep. I've had all these really funny stand-up ideas. I go on these hilarious rants to myself in my car, and I decided to start recording them, because if I got them all collected, I'd have some pretty funny stuff, really. Like, there's this guy, I went and got my hair cut the other day, and I was arguing with him, and, which is, you know, I've been cutting my own hair for like a few years, but I just went there to get it trimmed up a little bit, because it's hard to taper the back really nice and smooth with scissors by myself. But, one of the reasons I stopped getting my hair cut is because I was tired of taking like an hour out of my day to go spend money driving my car, wearing it down on gas, taking time out of my day to go somewhere to have an argument with somebody that I'm giving money to cut my hair in a way that I don't like. Has anybody else had that happen, or is it just me? So anyway, I'm arguing with this guy about how I want my hair cut, because I know how I want it, and he's trying to tell me I'm wrong. Right? I'm like, oh, I'm wrong? Like, isn't that a style, like a subjective thing? Isn't it like a preference? Right? It's just a style. There's no right or wrong style. He's like, well, maybe if you wisen up a little bit, you know, you'll learn and you'll come back and you'll let me cut the rest of it. And like, he kept going on. I'm like, dude, you don't get it. Like, there's no right or wrong person here. Oh man, I forget what I had a really funny rant on the way home from that. It was so funny. It's like, maybe someday you'll wisen up. It's like, dude, it's a preference. What are you talking about? I'm not wrong. The haircut I want isn't wrong. Let me show you what it was. All I did was get this back part right here tapered. Apparently getting this back here tapered, that's wrong. Because he didn't cut the rest of it. So just cutting the back, just tapering the back, that's wrong. You should not do that, guys. If you go to West Lebanon, get your haircut at the barber and ask for just the back of the bottom half tapered, I just want you to know, he will not appreciate it. Okay?